Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. September 12th, 2017.
The Kuhner Report, presented by Kelly Financial Services. This is the Kuhner Report.
Have you stopped watching the NFL, my friends? The ratings are in, at least for opening night, and they are down. In some markets, they are badly down. And many are asking themselves, is the NFL now in crisis? Now, look, as you know, I don't usually do sports stories. I leave that to the experts over at EEI. But when it relates to culture, and it intersects with politics and social issues, yes, I will discuss sports. And what you're seeing now is a league slowly in serious trouble. The ratings are down. In some markets, they're down substantially. People are getting turned off by the NFL. And all of this is happening, and to me, it's no coincidence, as the Colin Kaepernick precedent, as I call it, now begins to really take hold. In other words, all of these players now, almost every game, whether it be the Thursday night game between New England and Kansas City, to all the weekend games on Sunday, and then, of course, Monday Night Football, almost every game had protests against the national anthem by one or several of the players. It's every game now. And I'm not saying it's the whole team. It's usually just one or two or three. But for example, let me just give you an example. The Packers and Seahawks, which, by the way, was actually one of the few decent games. Well, there they were. I'm watching the game, minding my own business. And they show it, a replay. Defensive lineman Michael Bennett for the Seattle Seahawks doesn't want to stand for the national anthem. He's sitting on the bench protesting the national anthem. And then his brother, Martellus Bennett, who plays for the Green Bay Packers on the other side of the field, he's raising the black power fist during the national anthem, while the other players have their hands on their heart. So that's just to give you one example. So the constant protests against the national anthem are now spreading to pretty much almost every team in the NFL. And it's game after game after game after game. Now, I want to be perfectly clear. The ratings are down, in fact, and they have been declining now for the last couple of years. I think the major reason, there are multiple reasons. The big reason, I believe, the major reason, it's a garbage product. I'm not speaking now as an expert, I'm just telling you as a fan, it's a garbage product. I mean, just take opening day. I mean, I don't want to get into the weeds now of professional football, but take opening day. You got quarterbacks overthrowing the ball. You've got penalties left, right, and center. These guys who are supposed to be in shape are getting cramps and getting winded by the second or the third quarter. Sloppy tackling. I mean, honestly, it's just become a garbage league. You have a few elite teams, but for the most part, it's become a garbage league. So it's just not that much fun or entertaining to watch. I think that's the biggest reason. However, I think a secondary, another reason, and I think there's no denying it, and if you deny it, I think you have your head buried in the sand, is I'm sick and tired of being spit on in my face. I'm sick and tired of having my values spit on, the national anthem spit on, the flag spit on, and the values of the overwhelming majority of the American people constantly being insulted game after game, week after week, Sunday after Sunday. And I'm telling you, these players are out of control. They're a bunch of overpaid, spoiled brats. Not all of them, but many of them. And I'll just give you an example. I'll just give you one example. So, take Michael Bennett. Okay, again, defensive lineman for the Seattle Seahawks. He protested. By the way, I want to say it again. It was ironically, I think, the only good competitive game on all the Sunday games. Okay, but let that go. Let that go. And so he's protesting the national anthem. His brother, as I said, has got the Black Power salute on the other side with everybody else holding their hands on their heart. Now, as I'm watching this, let me tell you two things pop to my mind right away. Number one, look at how profoundly divided and polarized we have become. Where now, even the national anthem, there's no consensus. We can't even rise for the national anthem. I mean, you want to talk about a picture says 1,000 words. So here you have the brother, Martellus Bennett, pumping his black power fist in the air, right beside other players who have their hands on their heart. So even the national anthem now, we cannot agree on. For many of us, it's a sign and a symbol of patriotism and love of our country. For a minority, a militant minority, it's a symbol of oppression and enslavement. We don't even agree on that. But even more than that, take Michael Bennett, okay, the player for the Seahawks, the defensive lineman. So why is he sitting his big rear end down on the bench, doesn't want to rise for the national anthem? Because during the offseason, he went to see the Floyd Mayweather-Conor McGregor fight with a couple of his buddies. So here they're going to a marquee fight where you're paying $1,000, whatever, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 a ticket just to watch a fight. And then afterwards, they go out partying because they got to party till 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Watching the fight's not enough. They got to go party. So they go to a nightclub and they start partying. And of course, what happens at the nightclub? Fights break out, and in fact, there's a shooting that takes place. So then the police come, and there's a big scuffle. And Michael Bennett, eventually, he confronts the police. They see him running. They suspect him of something. Anyway, when everything is said and done, he had a scuffle with the police. He says that the Las Vegas police are a bunch of racists, and they targeted him and his friends simply because they were black. That's his argument, okay? So because he's teed off at the Las Vegas police for allegedly being racist, he protests the national anthem. Now, let me ask you this. How much do you think Michael Bennett makes a year? Take a guess. Take a guess. A defensive lineman. Take a guess. He's not a quarterback. He's not a star wide receiver. He's a very good one, but he's a defensive lineman. How much do you think he makes? $1 million a year? Jeff, come on. $3, $4 million a year? Jeff, come on. $6, $7 million a year? This year alone, he is poised to make $15 million. He has signed a 3-year, $30 million contract. 3 years, 30 mil. 15 mil this year. Now, even if, to me, it's obscene. Look, it's their money. You want to pay them that kind of money, that's your business, okay? I'm telling you, I think it's obscene, okay? But let that go. Hey, I'm not a socialist. You want to pay somebody $10 million or $15 million a year to tackle somebody? Go ahead, pay them. It's your money. But here's what gets my goat. Even if you assume everything what he says is correct, just for the sake of argument, let me concede. The Las Vegas police were racist. I don't think they were, but just for the sake of argument. The Las Vegas police were racist. They mistreated him. So, out of a nation of 330 million people, there aren't some idiots in this country? There aren't some racists in this country? And because you have one bad experience at a nightclub, where fights are breaking out and shots are being fired, and you believe you were unfairly targeted by the police, because of that, that gives you the right to stand there and protest the national anthem? as you're making $15 million a year this year alone? $15 million? Your children and grandchildren never have to worry about a meal again. You are going to live in the lap of luxury for the rest of your life. I'm talking multiple jacuzzis, multiple sports cars, multiple mansions. You don't know how to spend that kind of money. And you're still claiming that this country is a racist, oppressive country? As you're making $15 million a year? My friends, it's sick. I'm telling you, it's sick, it's perverted, it's wrong, it's insulting. And then let me just throw one more log on the fire, because nobody else seems to want to make this point. You know, in other words, why isn't the owner of the Seahawks, or frankly the coach of the Seahawks, saying, you know what, buddy, I don't care, I didn't ask you to party in Las Vegas, I didn't ask you to get a run-in with the police, you may have a problem with the police, you're making $15 million a year, stand up. Get off your rear end, and you're going to respect that flag, because in no other country in the world does an athlete, never mind an African-American athlete, make $15 million a year for playing a freaking game. Are you kidding me? You should be kissing that flag every freaking day. I would. $15 million to play a game? Every day. I'm saluting and kissing that flag. Okay? But let that go. Let that go. A new study out from CNBC. I want to share this with all of you. It confirms everything I've been saying for years, but now we have the hard data. So, now they have done an official study. Let me ask you this. For the average family of four, in other words, a working class guy, wants to take his wife and two kids, family of four, to see an average NFL game. I'm not talking the New England Patriots or, corporate box seats or whatever on the 50-yard line. I'm talking in the bleachers, okay, in the nosebleeds. He just wants to take his wife and two kids, the Buffalo Bills, Jacksonville, Cleveland, okay, an average NFL game. He wants to bring his wife and two kids. How much do you think it costs for the tickets? Parking, transportation, you got to get there. Two small beers. You got to have something. Not big beers, small beers. One for the wife, one for the missus, and one for the for daddy. And then two hot dogs. One for each of the Bambinos. Oh, and a soft drink each. How much do you think for an average, in other words, an afternoon to see an NFL game? How much do you think it costs the average working person in this country? Average NFL game. Take a guess. Take a guess. $250? $400. $502.34. Let's round it off. $500 for a family of four to see an average football NFL game. A typical NFL football game. On average, $500 per family. The NBA is next. The NHL is next at about $360 per family of four. NBA is $340 for a family of four. And Major League Baseball, believe it or not, I think is the cheapest, is about $240, $250 for an average family of four. Okay? So, but NFL, $500 for an average NFL game for a family of four. So there you are in the nosebleeds, where you guys are looking at each other saying, are those people down there on the field, or are they ants? Where you spend most of the game honestly looking at the big screen because at least you're seeing something. And a little beer and some hot dogs for the Bambinos and your parking and gas and transportation. And then on top of this, $500, you have to see these idiots slap you in the face. You have to stand there and say, and I got to put up with this anti-American garbage on top of it all. Now, I don't I mean, I still watch a little bit of the NFL. I've never gone to Gillette Stadium to see a Patriots game. It's way too expensive. I'm not going to blow $500. I'm just not. But this is what our money is going to. We're paying $500 on average to see a game, to see multimillionaires, spoiled athletes, not even have the basic decency, the basic humility and gratitude to stand up for the national anthem. You want to know why the NFL is going down the tubes? That's the reason why the NFL is going down the tubes. And so my question to you is this. Have you stopped watching the NFL? It is the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Bill Kelly Financial Services. If the answer is yes, you're just done with the National Football League, you're done with professional football, text the letter A to 680-680. If the answer is no, you're still going to continue to watch it, you love it, you're addicted to it, you love it, then text the letter B to 680-680. As always, you can vote online at WRKO.com. Have you stopped watching the NFL, and why? 617-266-6868. Your calls next. 1226 here on the great WRKO. Okay, my friends, protests are now spreading against the national anthem throughout the NFL. Almost every team in every game saw players protesting the national anthem for all kinds of reasons, in solidarity with Black Lives Matter, in opposition to racism, in opposition to police brutality, in opposition to Trump as president. Everybody had a reason, but the protests are now spreading. And my question to you is this. Have you stopped watching the NFL? Is this good or bad for professional football? 617-266-6868. You can text us at 680-680. This is from 781. Jeff, I will not stop watching the Patriots. However, I do not understand why the networks are helping to promote these idiots by even showing them taking a knee. They should just, the text continues, they should just ignore them like you ignore a bad acting child. 617, Jeff, I didn't watch one NFL game this past Sunday or Monday. If the Pats end up with one guy who either sits or kneels for the national anthem, I will stop watching them as well. 781, Jeff, the last time I saw an NFL game, I spent almost $400 just on myself and got poured on in 40-degree temperatures. It sucked. Well, a family of four, it costs you 500 smackaroos. And that's in the bleachers. It's 978, Jeff, these players are totally disrespecting the fans. Bingo. Bingo. You're paying $500 for an average family to see an average NFL game, and you got to put up with this garbage on top of it all? Hey, guys, you know, you want to disrespect me, but don't slap me in the face like that. Paul, you're up next in Quincy. Go ahead, Paul.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
Long overdue, this subject. Thank you for bringing it up.
My pleasure.
The bottom line is this. The text you just received, whenever I see anybody, a player, taking the knee, then the TV goes off. You know, I had a similar experience with Macy's. They stopped selling Donald Trump's wear, ties, etc. I stopped a year ago buying any items. How's Macy's doing today? That's the only message that the NFL will receive.
Paul,
you're right on.
Paul, is it temporary when you turn off the TV, or is it permanent? In other words, are you going to boycott the NFL until this stops, or is it on a game-by-game basis?
Well, if I see McCourty, if the Patriots doing it again, that's it. The TV's off.
Look, I'll be honest with you. See, you guys are tougher than I am. I mean, I was just angry and yelling at the TV. I still watched the Seahawks and the Packers. I mean, and luckily I did, honestly, because it was the only freaking half-decent game on Sunday. But, look, I'll tell you this. They keep this thing up, they're going to protest themselves right out of a job and right out of the league. Just my opinion. 617-266-6868. Protests against the national anthem now spread. Will it hurt the NFL? And have you stopped watching? Your calls next.
WRKO, the voice of Boston.
1237 here on the great WRKO. Okay, in response now to many of these controversial national anthem protests that are now getting increasing participation among NFL players. As I said, it's happening in almost every team, in almost every game during the opening of the NFL season. A tight end for the Cincinnati Bengals, Tyler Eifert, hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, actually wrote an essay for the website Medium Saturday. And according to him, he's played in the NFL since 2013. He says he can no longer stay silent, that he now wants to speak out against the Colin Kaepernicks of the world and those that are openly taking a knee or refuse to stand for the national anthem. And as he pens his essay, here is why I stand. He goes on to say, I know it would probably be best to stay out of it, but when you believe in something as much as I do, it gets to a point where you want both sides to be heard. Now, by the way, I'm telling you right now, he's a very brave guy, because I'll tell you this, the liberal fascists, the PC censors, those haters, they're going to go after this guy now. But this is why he stands. Quote, I stand because I love my country. I stand because I want to honor the people putting their lives on the line for me on a daily basis in the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, and Coast Guard. I stand because my cousin is a pilot in the United States Air Force, risking his life flying F-15s in active war zones. He takes pride in his job protecting Americans, a sacrifice that all members of every branch of the United States military willfully take. I stand with this guy. I applaud him for his courage to speaking out. And look, it's not just that we're honoring those that serve in our military or all of those who died and made sacrifices in honor of that flag for everything it symbolizes for our freedoms. You know why you stand? Because that flag is ours. It represents our common home. It's the flag of our country. And so when you don't stand for that flag, or when you deliberately protest that flag, what you are doing is you are insulting, you're practically, forgive me, you're defecating on the flag, on the country and freedoms it represents, and on all of those who have died in defense of that flag. And to see this being done, as I mentioned, by the likes of Michael Bennett, as I just picked him out of many, who makes $15 million a year, a minimum 3-year, $30 million contract, in which no other country would be so generous to professional players. And by the way, if nobody else has the guts to say it, I'm going to say it. You know, for a racist country, I don't know, man, 15 mil a year seems awfully generous to me. No organization has made more multimillionaires, and especially more black multimillionaires, than the NFL. So if you're oppressed by $15 million a year, Michael, really, if you hate it that much, leave. Leave. How come nobody just says that? You know what, buddy? Hey, if 15 mil is just too tough for you to survive in America, get lost. 617-266-6868. Brittany, what is the Kuhner Country poll question? What are the results thus far?
Have you stopped watching the NFL? If you believe the answer is yes, yes, you have. You stopped watching the NFL, text A to 680, 680. If you haven't stopped watching the NFL, text B to 680, 680, or go to WRKO.com to vote there. And the results are 70% yes, 30% no.
Are you an A or a B on this one, Britt?
I only watch the Patriots, so once a week I'll watch.
Yeah, see, I watch the Patriots and... maybe the game of the week.
You know what I do? I just won't watch the beginning so I don't get aggravated, so I just enjoy the game.
But they show it on replay. See, that's the thing. So now they go, just for all of you, this is what they did during the singing of the national anthem. So then they loop it. They keep playing it during the game. So, you see, the media wants you to see them protesting. You see what I'm saying, Brittany?
Yeah, they shouldn't do that.
That's when I start getting upset and yelling at the TV. 617-266-6868. Dave in Somerville. Go ahead, Dave.
How you doing, Jeff?
I'm good. How are you?
When I was in kindergarten, we used to do the Pledge of Allegiance. And every time you listen to the national anthem, you stand up. There's too many ghetto rats in the NFL who are making too much money. Why don't they take this $14 million away out of the $15 million to make them only $1 million? It's ridiculous. It's not even right.
Dave, I'm with you. I mean, I'm with you, man. Look, let me ask all of you this. In all honesty, if you were being paid, I don't know, 7, 8, 10, 12, 15, $20 million a year to play a game. Okay, no, forget playing a game. Okay, that's to do what you do right now. Basically, to do your job. And you're getting paid $10, $15, $20 million a year. Let me ask you, honestly, what would be your reaction every morning? I'd be like, where's the flag? I want to salute it. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Ashton, Ava, come here. This is what's paying for your school and all. Here it is. Here it is. Kiss the flag. Kiss the flag right here. And instead, you dump on the flag? Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Bill in Newton. Go ahead, Bill.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Bill?
Not too well. Listen, how a player comports himself on the field and off the field might govern one's attitude towards the game. Now, I'll give you an example. There was a basketball team, about 20-some-odd years ago, and I liked their way of playing. Then I found out, and I don't have proof, that one of the players sired about 6 or 7 kids around the country. And I lost all respect for for him, number one. And it soured me on the team, number two. And number three, when I find out about the NFL or even the NHL, if I find out the players, generally speaking, are cheating on their wives and things like that, I tend to lose interest. And I just one more point. If you ever listen to interviews of the MLS soccer players, almost to a man, they're all humble, articulate, polite. They act wonderfully, and I happen to like the game. But those guys are great ambassadors for the game.
And they make a pittance. They make a pittance compared to what, let's say, the Big Four make. You know, the NFL, NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball. And no, look, you see, let me just, not to pick on Michael Bennett, but I'm just going to use him as an example. They're so self-absorbed. They're such egomaniacs that they always think it's about them. Well, no. You put on a jersey. You put on a helmet. You play for a team. You're supposed to be a professional. You're also supposed to realize, hey, I got hardworking people up there who are paying $500 for a family of 4, and they're making maybe $30,000, $35,000, $40,000 a year. It's a big sacrifice for them to come out and see me play. And they're the ones who are putting money in my pocket. They're making me rich beyond my wildest dreams. So out of respect for them, if nothing else, I stand up and salute the flag. I stand up and respect the national anthem. Now, if you don't like racist cops, write an op-ed. I mean, you're a wealthy. You can do so many things to make your point, but what you don't do is disrespect the very flag and the very anthem that has been so generous to you. And think of it as a role model. So you want everybody now, because right, kids look up to athletes. They just do. So you want to teach kids to hate the anthem, to hate the flag, to hate their own country? Now, if you're living in apartheid South Africa, in all honesty, okay, I get it. You're literally, truly being oppressed. But when you're making $15 million a year, you have a different sports car for every day of the week. And because you were mistreated by the cops as you were partying in Las Vegas after the Floyd Mayweather-Conor McGregor fight, and suddenly you want to sit your big fat rear end, I got to control myself here. You got to sit your big fat rear end down on the bench because you don't want to stand for the national anthem? I'm sorry. He's completely wrong. He's a complete ingrate. But where's the coach and where's the owner? I'm sorry, there's a morals clause. If I'm the owner of the Seahawks, you know, a lot of owners are on the field. Sometimes they're in the owner's box. But if I'm the owner, hey, buddy, hey, Michael, get your rear end and you sit that thing up. And if you don't like it, I'm terminating your contract right here, right now. That flag is why you're making $15 million a year. Okay? Buddy, show some gratitude. Where's the ownership? 617-266-6868. Dave in Danvers. Go ahead, Dave.
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for taking my call. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Dave?
I'm doing good. Listen, I can't agree more with everything you're saying so far, you know. But to answer your question as to whether, you know, incidents like this will hurt the NFL in the long run, I don't see it happening. And the reason for that is I think it might just be a ploy for revenues. Everybody's green to them, and that's all it comes down to is dollars and how they can get that green from people. So they're just hoping, I think, to get people to rally behind this and come to the games, you know what I mean, where it's more of what they call the browning of America. I mean, Caucasians are going to be a minority soon, and if they wipe them out, their dollars, where's the dollars going to come from? Well, that steps the next class of people, and that's all it's about in the long run, I think. So it's not going to hurt them. It'll probably help them, if anything.
Dave, let me just play devil's advocate with you for a second. A lot of their money comes, obviously, from TV, right, and TV ratings. If the ratings continue to go down, and look, honestly, really, I mean, obviously this issue to me is an important issue. I really think the bigger problem is it's a garbage product. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I don't think the quality is that good anymore. Some teams are very good, but overall. But if the ratings continue to go down, I think they're killing themselves. I mean, am I wrong?
Well, you might have a point to a short-term thing, but in the long run, what's going to happen, as you said it earlier, the media keeps playing this over and over. It gives them that free advertising regardless. So they're not going to lose out on nothing in the long run. They're still going to gain, and they're still going to get in the end.
Dave, thank you very much for that call. Okay, speaking of the media, ESPN, and no, I'm not talking about Sergio Dieppe, who completely bungled it on the sidelines yesterday. You are not going to believe what a co-host of ESPN Sports Center said about President Donald Trump. They got a problem. I'm serious. A big problem at ESPN. That story, more of your calls next. If she was a conservative, she would be gone. I mean, gone so fast your head would spin. So listen now to this. ESPN's Jamil Hill, she is a co-host of Sports Center on ESPN, the 6 p.m. Sports Center broadcast, a rabid moonbat, a big supporter of Black Lives Matter. In fact, she once referred to cops, I kid you not, as quote-unquote slave patrols. Well, last night, for no reason, just out of the blue, on Twitter Monday evening, she called President Trump a white supremacist. Quote, straight from her Twitter account, Donald Trump is a white supremacist who has largely surrounded himself with other white supremacists. Now, she didn't just call him a racist. She didn't just call him a bigot. She essentially called him a racial terrorist. KKK. With no evidence, no corroboration. She just, as if it was a statement of fact. Now, I want to flip it. Imagine if somebody at ESPN, I don't know, say Kurt Schilling or Mike Ditka, referred to President Obama as an Islamic terrorist. Here, forget ESPN, Jeff Kuhner on Twitter. Barack Hussein Obama is an Islamic terrorist and has surrounded himself largely with Islamic terrorists. I would be out of a job so fast, they wouldn't even let me in through the front door. And so the question now is, what is ESPN going to do? Because to me, this is now a fundamental litmus test. If they let her get away with this, where she is now openly sowing and fomenting racial hatred and division, then I am telling you, ESPN is over. I mean, it's done. Put a fork in it. Brittany, I know you want to weigh in on this.
Kuhner, what happened to all the journalists out there? We don't have reporters anymore, or journalists, or people that are objective in the media anymore. They're a bunch of shock jocks. They'll say anything they want that's absolutely outrageous just so that they can have a little sound bite. The next day on the news, look what he said, look what she said. It's not the media anymore. Whether it's Chris Matthews, Don Lemon, Rachel Maddow, Ann Coulter, Tommy Lauren, Greg Gutfeld, they say crazy, outrageous things, and they're not reporters anymore. They're not journalists anymore. They're nothing but shock jocks, and we've lost that in the media.
So you think that she's just completely a self-absorbed narcissist?
Like the majority of the people that are in the media now.
Who
they
just
make
wants
it about
to
themselves.
Ramp up the shock value.
They don't give you the news. They give you what they believe their political views are. And they shove it, that's what they do. They throw it in your face, whether you want to hear it or not, Jeff.
Now, I'm just thinking, Jamil Hill, what does ESPN have to do with Donald Trump?
Nothing.
And think about how grossly irresponsible it is for her to be calling the president essentially a terrorist, a white supremacist terrorist.
It has nothing to do with sports. Just give me, stats and tell me what the scores were. That's what your job is. It's not to tell me your political views.
Should Jamil Hill be fired? And are you sick of the political correctness and the out-of-control radical liberalism at ESPN? I want to hear from you. 617-266-6868. Your call's next.
The voice of Boston is you. 680 WRKO Boston, 93.7 WEEI HD2 Lawrence, Boston. It's 1 o'clock.